All right, do you want to start broadcasting?
Sure.
All right,
You
I'm going to
got
mute
this.
myself.
Thank you. There you go. Hi, everyone. Thank you for participating in today's webinar on job and internship search strategies. Welcome to all of you who are here today and joining us. My name is Jessica. I'm one of the career engagement educators. So I'll be presenting on this first section, and we will go through the agenda items a little bit later on. Just some housekeeping rules. Make sure that you ask any of the questions that you may have throughout the presentation in the Q&A. And also, if you see at the bottom of my screen, there is a survey. So if you can please all fill out the survey. What it does, it helps us just keep track of all of you who attended. It also gives us the opportunity to send you these slides at the end of the presentation. And also you get a chance to win a $25 gift card. So please, it's on the screen as well as in the chat box. Alrighty, so I think we're ready to start. So just give me 1 second. Alrighty. So just some agenda items for today. So we will be going over the first section, which is the one that I will be focusing on today, which is the job and internship search strategies. And it'll be from 2 to 2:50. The next one will be virtual networking and LinkedIn strategies, which will be our next section. They will be from 3 to 3:50, as well as successful interviewing for 4 to 4:50. So you're more than welcome to pop into any of those, or if you want to continue throughout the day, feel free to do that. They're all great topics and they're all related to even today's times. So really recommend you take a look if to decide to continue if you haven't. So just to start off, we really just want to give you a sense of what it takes to really have a successful job search, especially in these times. You know, the first piece is really clarifying your interest and what that means to you, right? And we'll go a little bit more in depth of what that means, but really having you think about what are some of my interests, where do I see myself, what are some areas that I would like to gain experience would be the first step. You know, the next step would be, of course, to do some research on the companies, on the specific, job positions or internship positions that you're thinking about, and then setting those goals. You know, one of the things that I always have when talking with students is they're always saying, oh, it's so hard to be accountable. I have so much going on. And so sometimes by, setting those SMART goals for yourself and, really creating a plan for you can help you be so accountable, especially, for those of you who are thinking about internships or job search right now. So just, taking those action steps to really help you get that successful job or internship. So the first piece, of course, is, kind of going back to the first question of, who am I? What do I want? What are some of my interests? And this is, I feel, the part where students have the time to really reflect and really look to see, the first piece of, what are some of your interests? What are some things that I like? What are some things that you spend a lot of time with and you really enjoy? It's also taking a look at your skills. What are you good at? What are some things that come naturally to you? The third piece is your personality, right? How does your personality align with the positions that you're thinking about or considering? As well as your values. What are some of the things that are important to you? What motivates you? Is it work-life balance? Is it having personal relationships in your work? Those type of things are some things you want to consider. And I do want to show you really quick focus too. So I'll show you here. So let me switch my view. Okay, perfect. So, and this website will be referred to you when the survey is sent to you. I mean, the presentation is sent to you at the end through the slides. So this website here is our career.ucla website, which has finally been updated. We're so excited just because it's so much easier to navigate. and a lot of the resources are really just easier to access. So that specific tool, which can really help you at least start that process of really seeing what are some of your interests, what are some of your skills, is this focus to resource here on that's through Handshake. So if I click on this, oh, it doesn't give me the login. But what you'll have to do is you'll have to log in through your UCLA credentials. And afterwards, let me do this really quick. What it'll do, it'll direct you to this website and you'll create an account. So once you're in this account, this is how it'll look like. So it'll give you some assessments on your personality, work interests, values, and it'll give you some results based on all this. And I would recommend for those of you who are, still unsure of the process, after you do this assessment, come talk to one of us, one of the career engagement educators, just to help you kind of, just kind of debrief the results. What are you thinking about? What are some areas that you've considered or have not considered before? We can help you through that process. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. And at the end of this, by doing these things, it'll really help you decide a more informed decision about where you want to be, right? You're going to feel more confident about where you see yourself and potential area or options that you may have never considered before. So definitely recommend you do that. So for some of you, it's probably been, talked about in your classes. Maybe you've talked to your peers, right? Maybe you've talked to so many people in your life, and they tell you, "Oh yeah, get an internship, get some experience," and I don't know if maybe some of you might have considered, okay, well, actually, what can I gain from an internship? Like, what is the purpose of an internship? And so I'm here to tell you that internships are a great way to just get hands-on experiential learning experience for you all. A lot of these can be from full-time to part-time. It could be offered through the summer, through the year. I mean, there's so many out there that you can take a look at. One of the things I definitely want to emphasize is that in my years that I've been working in career, students who take advantage of those resources of getting experience in internships, volunteer work, maybe even student orgs, they are more competitive once they finish, their time at UCLA or whatever school they're at, because employers will see that they have that experience already and they have those transferable skills that they now can utilize in their work. So, I will say that that is definitely something that, every employer looks at. Regardless if it's internships, volunteer work, work experience, and student org involvement. Another thing is by doing internships, you're able to really create a more sense of your professional identity. And so once you go to your interviews, you're able to really articulate what skills, what experiences relate to that position. You're more confident about what you can bring to the table. Another piece is that you're able to also, you know, experience in real life what this position may entail. I always tell my students whenever I'm talking with them is that for me, when I was an undergrad, I wanted to help people, but I didn't know how. So my first or second job in undergrad, I worked at a middle school. It was amazing experience, but it wasn't for me. That's when I knew that through that experience, I knew I didn't want to become a middle school teacher, right? Because I always, oh my gosh, I would go home and I would just knock out because my energy was like literally drained. So just some things to consider for you to really test out these environments and if this is a good fit for you. And that can validate or at least say, okay, well, I like this piece, but maybe it's in some other way, and then look for those opportunities, right? And one of the most important pieces is really just being able to connect with people in the field, right? This is an opportunity for you to, create maybe mentor relationships, connect with people in the organization or company that you work for. You know, I always tell students, take advantage of your student card. The fact that you're a student, people are more than willing to help you through your process. So take advantage of that. And you never know the type of people that you might meet within your internships, and even those that are not even your direct supervisors, but even potential coworkers, right? One thing I will say, and employers have shared with me with this, is that when they hire interns and they see the value they can bring in, they're more likely to hire interns than new people that they've never met and they don't know their work ethic. As an intern, you can prove that. They can see what skills and experience you can bring to the table. So the other piece, of course, is a research piece. And this is a piece that is a little more easier because you can find most of the things online. You can research what type of organizations you want to work for, if they're corporate, nonprofits, government, NGOs. Also look into the types of industries that you're interested in. Is it entertainment? Is it more finance? Is it, really taking and seeing what those may be. What are some companies or organizations that you want to work for? So I actually had a student this week share that she created a list of all the different things that, or all the different companies or orgs that are in her top 10. It may be that she may look for an internship or a job after that, but at least having something solidified so that you have a goal, even if it's maybe after college, or even right now as an undergrad. And then, of course, what job or internship titles should you be searching for? So again, there tends to be, maybe you're in that step where you may know more so like broad where you want to be. So maybe the next step would be to kind of condense that and see where, maybe what titles should you be looking for specifically for job or internships. And again, if you're stuck within this process, that's what we're here for, what I'm here for. And so you can always follow up if that's the case. So Vault is a resource that can help you through that process. Again, I'm going to show you really quick through my my desktop here, and I'm gonna go, let me see here. Yeah, perfect. So I'm gonna do a new share so that you can see my, okay. So this is Vault. So this, you can literally put any keyword or title. So I'm just gonna put consulting just to put it out there. And so you do search, and there's a lot of articles here, but personally, I really like the guide section. So I'll click on that. And then what I'll go to is based on what I'm looking for. So maybe for me, it's like, okay, how do I look for consulting jobs, right? So right now it tells me if you go through the UCLA Handshake website, it won't ask you to pay. So make sure that you go through the website. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, so under the resources section again, you can go through Vault. And again, it'll give you that same website. Mine, it kicked me out. So that's the reason why it's asking me to pay, but this is all free for you all. We pay for this in order for you to access this for free. Okay, let's see here. Let me see if I can actually log in really quick, just at least to give you an actual preview of that, what that can look like. Yeah. So let me go again to consulting. And this time I actually went in through UCLA, as you can see here on the top. So I'm gonna go to the guides. And then I'm gonna go to, again, consulting jobs. And then you see here, it doesn't tell me to pay anymore. So you go to view now. And just give it some time to load. Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna click just a random one. Let me go to maybe like the marketing one, marketing consulting. And it gives you a list of all different types of consulting jobs. So it just gives you just a lot of good info about the salary, career ladder, the history of it, the job. It gives you the earnings, how you can explore this potential field. So it gives you advice. It gives you, education, certification. One of the things that I really enjoy is it usually gives you advice on how to start out within this industry if you're considering it, what the advancement prospects are, and towards the end, they actually also give you tips for entry. So they have like websites and links. This one in particular, it says, where you can get advice for networking, interviewing, and other aspects of the job search. So really great tips just overall to get you started. So let me go back to the presentation. Alrighty. Alrighty, so now to the nitty gritty, right? Many of you may be like, okay, well, how do I look for jobs and internships right now in this, specifically in this time? And so of course, all these platforms are really great platforms to look for those positions. Handshake, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Idealist, Indeed, those are all great websites to take a look at. So I'll share a little bit right now how Handshake looks in terms of that. But I will say the first tip that I will give all of you is to filter through all of these platforms the new job postings, and I'll show you how you can do that. And so what I mean by that is you can filter out based on when they were posted. So that's my first tip, because that at least gives you a sense of when this position was posted, and if it's been posted within the 1 or 2 weeks ago, you know that it's pretty current. Okay. I'll also show you some other websites that can help you through this process. So here, let me show you really quick what that can look like for all of you. So I'm gonna go back again, and I'm gonna take you to the same website here. Okay. Okay. So you have, again, this is the same resource page that I keep referring back to. So you go to Handshake, and usually when you log in, right, it'll give you this. You go to the job section, you put in some keywords, but I'm not gonna do that for now. I'm just gonna show you where that filter is. So you go here to the where it says relevance. You're gonna click on date posted, okay? And here it'll tell you when those positions were posted. So usually here, this one's new. So for the most part, that should be sometime probably today that was posted. So all of these are pretty updated. So you know that you can apply for these. And of course, once you put in your titles or some specific employers or keywords, then of course it'll be more geared towards what you're looking for, and even the city and the state. All the other platforms that I showed you have that same feature. So if you're looking in Indeed or LinkedIn, they all have that same feature in where you can filter based on when they were last posted. Another website that I want to show you really quick is Candor. So I don't know if some of you have already gone through that website. So I'm going to show you really quick again. Let's see here. And again, this link will be on the presentation. So if you haven't done the survey yet, make sure to do that, because we're going to give you all of our slides at the end. So Candor. So this website is a live website that gives you updates about everyone who's hiring, who are having a hiring freeze, who are doing layoffs. You can actually sort them through, if you're specifically looking for hiring. You can even search through here for a specific company. these are all based on what people have inputted. So of course, this is like the first, your first opportunity to look to see, but always confirm within their websites, right? Especially if you see that they have a new job posting that they posted 2 days ago, you're probably going to go that based on that versus this. This is just a starting point to at least give you some idea. As you can see, it's very, very pretty pretty informative in terms of who's hiring or not. So this could be another resource that you can take a look at just to see. LinkedIn also, for those of you, we will be talking a little bit more in detail in the next workshop from 3 to 4 on how to utilize LinkedIn. But LinkedIn has really great resources, even within here, my notifications. The first thing here that I can click is based on COVID-19 news and who is hiring. So they have really great articles on like who's hiring, even like tips from different people. I'll show you here. Tips from different people all around the world, from people who work at the career centers, from employers, what tips they have for graduates. From many of you, it might be graduates of 2020. They have a lot of great resources that they're just kind of sharing with everybody. Like this person here, it says, don't pause your search. If you're actively not pursuing opportunities, you clearly will not in a position. Use all your resources, connections, begin to consider plan B or C, right? So those are just really great tips to kind of put you in that perspective of what you could be doing now. Yeah, so that's just very quick, just an overview. So let me go back to my screen. Alrighty. So now what I want you all to do, so I have this question for you. So what % of jobs and internships are filled through networking? So let me put the poll. So let me relaunch this. Okay. So just as a question for you all, what percentage of jobs are filled through networking? What do you all think? 28, 54, 85? Maybe some of you already peeked at my answer, but that's okay. Okay, so we have some here. Majority 14 says 85. Some of you say 54%. Okay, alrighty. So let me end the poll for now. So it sounds like the majority say 85%. So let's take a look what it really is. So let me take this off here. So 85. So whoever said 85, give yourself a hand of applause. You are correct. So 85% of internships and jobs are filled through networking. So that already, I mean, that's a huge number. And I would have wanted to ask you, if you were in person, you know, how many of you have gotten, you know, either jobs or internships through people that you know, which I'm sure a big percentage of you might have answered that question with your hand. But yes, a lot of this is done through that. And the reason why we decided to put it in here now is because, you know, maybe some of you may, you know, maybe your internships might have been postponed, maybe even your job offers might have been postponed or canceled. I'm not really sure, you know, what your specific situation is. And you know, a lot of students feel very much like they feel kind of lost and confused and not really sure of what to do next. You know, the one thing that I will say is, what you do have control over is, first off, your, you know, your LinkedIn profiles, your virtual brandings, right? Your resumes, the people, your networks. Those are people that you can reach out to, especially nowadays that we're all home. It might be maybe easier, right, to reach out to folks and do those informational interviews and getting to know them and their career, and just tips and advice that they may have for someone like you who may be considering this type of work. So just putting it out there that you know, I want you all to, you still have a control over some things in your life right now, and that's definitely your virtual brand, right? Your resume and your cover letter and all these other different components. So LinkedIn and UCLA One are, I don't know if any of you have profiles, but LinkedIn and UCLA One are a great resource to just even play around with. I met with a student earlier today, and she found it so helpful just seeing what other people's trajectories were like. She was interested in something to do with like urban planning, and so being able to see that through LinkedIn and UCLA One, she was able to really just be reassured and being able to see what other people's trajectories were like. UCLA One is another one that I recommend a lot just because it is a program that UCLA created so that current students and UCLA alumni are able to connect, and they actually have mentorship opportunities through there. So definitely recommend that you create a profile and just check it out. It's free. It's free for you to use. I've actually had a lot of students who have had a lot of success just being able to connect with people through there. And actually just a couple of days ago, I went on UCLA One, and a lot of people are offering to help others, students, other alumni, just in terms of just informing them about, what their journey was like and so on and so forth. So again, our next workshop will focus more on that and how you can actually reach out, how you can start those conversations and actually give you just more info on these two platforms. So definitely recommend that you check it out if you haven't. So just really quick, I don't want to focus too much on this slide, but I do want you all to be aware of fraudulent job postings, especially during this time. You want to make sure that, the jobs and internships that you are applying, are legit, especially nowadays that a lot of positions are temporarily virtual or may say in their job description that are virtual. And so just some quick tips, do your own research, use Better Business Bureau or the Hoover website to verify if they're legitimate. Um, take time to familiarize yourself with scams. So Balanced Careers has a good resource just to see what are some things you should be aware of. Even contacting us if you notice any fraudulent postings, or even if you're considering something and you're not really sure if it's real or not, you can always contact us so we can verify if that's the case. Make sure that you don't trust any listings with incorrect information. So they should have, their information online. Make sure that they don't have any grammar or spelling errors. They also, another like big red flag is if they have unrealistic wages, things of that nature. Don't trust any employee who can't verify their info. So if they don't have a phone number, company name, website address, those are all red flags. If you're not able to find that information through Google. Another thing is you don't want to provide info over the phone or email. So if they're asking you for your social security number, your bank account info, your credit card numbers, your login info, that's another huge red flag. So just being aware of that whenever you're applying. So I'm not sure if some of you may be international students. So, in our conversations with DashU, I do want to say that a lot of students who are international students and are considering either jobs or internships, it will be the same process that it has been so far. So you do have to look for internships and jobs that are related to your major. And in this case, if it's virtual, that is okay. But always check in with DashU Center just in case there's been any new information or just any changes. But definitely understanding what the CPT, OPT difference is, just to learn about those opportunities, because you can gain these internships and jobs as well. There is a STEM extension that has been, done for OPT students who are thinking about STEM careers. And in Going Global, it is a resource to look for jobs and internships if you decide to go back home. So just, some resources to get you familiar with what's out there. But always check in with DashU. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to also make an appointment with us. So this chart we would usually show to students because it gives you an idea of like when specific industries are hiring for the most part. Doesn't mean that everybody's hiring for, the specific time, but maybe major companies, major organizations, this is their time that they recruit a lot of students or just people in general. Um, so I will say that because of what's happening now, it could change a little bit. So just again, just being updated through the websites, maybe even during your informational interviews, talking to recruiters or people who work for the company and asking um, if they're currently hiring, and if not, how does that look like? Those type of things you can definitely ask when you're doing when you're reaching out to people. So remember how I mentioned that a lot of the students that I work with, it's always easy to do research, kind of do that whole aspect that doesn't take that much time. So one thing that I always recommend is doing goals for yourself. This is something that you can write in your phone. It could be something you can write on your computer, on a piece of paper, maybe even putting it up on your wall. Maybe you have a vision board. Just putting it out there, what those goals may look like and what steps you need to do. So a reason why they're called SMART goals is because they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So let's go a little bit more into, what that means. So specific. So what is it that you want to accomplish? Is it to gain a job? Is it to maybe do maybe informational interviews with people who work for that company? um, you know, Measurable. What metrics will help you measure your goal? So how are you measuring that? Are you doing it once a week, twice a week, maybe during your lunch breaks? That's how you keep measurable. Achievable. So can and how will you accomplish your goal? So like really putting in details how you're going to do that. Are you going to create a UCLA one account? Is it a LinkedIn account? Are you going to update your account? Are you going to update your resume, right? Really putting it out there. And relevant, how does this align with your broader goals? And then time bound, what is the time frame for reaching this goal? So an example, so maybe for you is you want to revise your resume. So maybe what that would change it to a SMART goal would be, in this case, maybe create 2 alternative versions of my resume by next Sunday. Maybe you're looking for jobs. Maybe schedule 1 hour of job and internship search for at least 3 days each week. Or maybe you want to network with alumni. Well, how will that look like if it's a SMART goal? You can use LinkedIn, you can use UCLA One to find that alumni and conduct those informational interviews by the end of the month. And again, this info about how to do informational interviews, what questions you can ask, that will be available in the next workshop. But just to kind of put it out there, questions could be like, tell me more about your day-to-day at, NBC. What skills do you feel would make an applicant competitive if they're applying for your company? What internships or like what experience did you get in order to get where you are, right? These are questions that you wouldn't find online. This is a conversation that you're having with people. And one thing I tell students, because sometimes when I say network or informational interviews, they're like, oh, but I don't want to be a bother. Or what if like they're so busy? Or, the worst thing that they can say is no. But definitely putting yourself out there, reaching out to people, you'll find people who are willing to help. And remember that it's not transactional. It's not to get, like, the goal shouldn't be to get you a job, right? I mean, if it comes to that, that's amazing, great for you. But really, this is a way to connect with people who may have similar interests as you, that you're able to really just hear about their journey and just connect with them in a very genuine sense. It shouldn't be intimidating. Um, of course, when you first meet someone new, it is always very kind of like nerve-wracking, but just think of it as just a conversation that you're having with someone who's obtained what you would want to one day. So just putting it out there. And so, of course, the other piece is making sure that you have your application materials. So making sure that you have your resume, your cover letter, your transcripts, your references. Those tend to be, for the general part of your application process. And make sure that you're tailoring every resume and cover letter for every position. I've had students where they say, Jessica, can I just have one resume just so I can apply for everything? And I'm like, you can do that, but your chances of getting an interview will be really low because people can tell. They can tell when you're, not really putting in the time and effort into these positions, into these applications. So you'll have multiple resumes, you'll have multiple cover letters. And again, if you don't know how to do that, we do have workshops to help you do that. So we have a resume and cover letter 101 that we offer throughout the quarter. But again, you can also do an appointment with us if that's somewhere where you're a little stuck. And again, just researching the company, analyzing the position, engaging their needs. That's a big piece. So another question. So on average, how long do recruiters spend looking at a resume? So let me go to, oops. Oh, wait. Let me go back to, oh, let me go back to it. So on average, how long do recruiters spend looking at a resume? Take a guess. 6 to 10 seconds, 12 to 15, 20 to 30. What do you all think? Okay. So for the most part, it seems like the winner, oh wow, it's pretty tied. Okay. So let me share the results with you all. So 6 to 10 seconds and 12 to 15 seconds were tied. Okay, so let's see here what what the results are. So recruiters spend 6 to 10 seconds looking at a resume on average, of course. It doesn't mean that everyone, but on average. And the way you want to gain a recruiter's attention to your resume is by these tips that we have here. Making sure that your resume is relevant. Oh, whoops. Make sure that your resume is relevant, right? That you have, relevant experience or at least transferable skills that are relevant to the position. Having experience. So again, that means any jobs, any internships, any volunteer things that you've done, any class projects that you've done, any student orgs that you're involved in, that could be part of your experience because it doesn't matter if you're getting paid or not. The point is, what skills are you gaining from these internships, jobs, so on and so forth. Okay. You also want to oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Customize your section titles or orders, their content according to the needs of the position, right? So one thing I'll give you a very quick tip is for those of you who have, you have internships that align with what you're looking for, but then you also have those maybe experiences where maybe you work in fast food or customer service that may not be as relevant. One way you can tailor that is by having a relevant experience section where you can include everything that's relevant, and then an additional section where you could talk a little bit more about the other positions, because again, there's still transferable skills that you have, but not putting so much emphasis on that one, right? So that's just one quick tip. And then applicant tracking systems, ATS. So these are programs that a lot of companies and organizations use to filter out through all the applications. So I don't know if you know, but a lot of companies have over 100 plus applicants for each of their jobs. I have a friend who works for the city of Chino, and she does HR. And she told me that one time she had this job, I can't remember which one, over 600 applicants. Can you believe that? So what she did is she used the ATS program in order to filter out based on the keywords from the position that she had posted. So then this program, what it does is that it looks through your resume, looks to see if there's keywords that match with the job description that the job position has. And then that's how they filter out. So from all those 600, whatever number, she went down to 100, which was a little more manageable. And then from there, it went down to 50, which was even more manageable, right? So just putting it out there that, these programs are also reviewing your resumes to make sure that they're a good fit with what they're looking for. And of course, your references, you want to make sure that you prepare them in advance. You're letting people know that if, making sure that you ask people if they can be your references, and make sure that you're also asking people who can really speak about your work ethic, your skills, your professionalism, all that, okay? So I always say at least have 2 people that can vouch for you. And make sure that you're always updating your references. And also thank them, because they are taking time, out of their day to whenever they get a reference call or a reference email, they are putting in time to talk about you and what you can bring into the table and to the company. So remember how you want to stay organized through this process, because it could be very overwhelming. You have all these different pieces that we just talked about. So how do you keep yourself first off accountable, but also organized through this process? And so just a quick little thing here at the bottom, you can literally create an Excel sheet with all this information: the company name, the contact, the email, when you applied, what were the materials you submitted, interview if you've had any, follow up if you followed up, and even the status of your application. So this just really helps you be more organized through the process, and also helps you make sure that you're not applying twice, let's say for one position that maybe you forgot about. And also following up, especially during these times, because you never know when this may change. And maybe they might be hiring maybe later on, you never know. And so following up gives you at least that chance to make those connections and say, hey, I'm still interested, that sort of thing. And of course, really just remembering that there are ethics and etiquette when it comes to this. You are representing, first off, yourself, right? Remember, of your brand, but then also you're representing UCLA, and so make sure that you are always timely and professional when you are communicating with recruiters, virtually right now, but maybe in person later on as well. Give yourself time to consider a job or an internship. You don't have to accept right away. You can tell the recruiter if you can have maybe a week or 2 to think about it, and that you'll follow up with a response. That's completely okay. And of course, reneging an offer is something you always want to watch out for. So what that means is that, let's say you have a position and you accept it, and then another one comes, and then you end up declining the first offer to get the second one. It's always a tricky situation, because it's a very small world out there, and you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation where people are, kind of your branding piece. And so if there's ever a situation where it is something that maybe, especially right now in this economy, right, you do need to obtain a job, and maybe one gave you a virtual opportunity versus the other one didn't. So always communicating that, at least with the employer, always being just upfront about what's happening. That's always the key to make sure that your branding or your professional isn't misrepresented in a bad way. So this survey, so Handshake actually surveyed different employers, and these are some of the statistics that they came up with. So they are, employers are shifting, they're adapting to all these virtual channels. And, it says here that 89% are adapting their virtual video interviews. So they are doing video interviews. 73% are adopting or increasing phone screens. 59% of employers are adopting or increasing digital engagement, including virtual events, workshops, virtual fairs, so on and so forth. And 80%, I'm going to repeat that, 80% of students who share their job type, job role, and location preferences get a proactive message from an employer on Handshake. So that means if you update your Handshake profile, you have a better chance of getting a message from an employer. It happens. I've had students that I've met with who tell me, oh, I got a message from an employer on Handshake. Is it real? And I'm like, yeah, because that's where they would get your information, through Handshake, and that's when they would contact you through Handshake. So just keep in mind, if for some of you, you haven't updated your profile, make sure you do so now, especially in these times. Some tips, just to really just help you through these challenging times, especially right now in COVID-19, is go through Handshake. As I mentioned before, filter out those new postings so that you're not applying to something that, maybe their position might have changed. Complete your profile, your Handshake profile, to attract employers. Create a LinkedIn and a UCLA profile, because right now is the perfect time to focus on that online presence, and updating those profiles. This is also the time to connect with mentors and advisors, just to seek their wisdom and just build that relationship with someone who already is in the industry that you're thinking about. Candor, as I mentioned earlier, this is a website that has the live feed of all all the companies and organizations that are either hiring, they're freezing, they're having layoffs. So just to be, so that you can be informed of what's going on. Being prepared, having your resumes and cover letters ready to go, which you can do during drop-ins and appointments, which we'll talk about a little bit, I think in the next slide. Interview Stream is another platform that we have through Handshake that also helps you practice interviewing. So if you want to practice and you want to record yourself and you want to play back the video just to see maybe ways that you can improve, things that you're already doing good, you can definitely utilize Interview Stream. And again, it's a free resource. This is also the time to really develop any concrete transferable skills. Think about what skills you would want to gain, what skills you would want to work on. LA Public Library gives you free access to LinkedIn Learning and Lynda. So if you have an LA Public Library card, you can even do it, like you can fill out a quick application online really quick and they'll give you access. You can access all LinkedIn Learning, like workshops, classes, videos, which can help you work on some of those skills that maybe you might want to work on, like Excel, if you're thinking about finance or whatever the case may be. They have really, really good just resources to help you through right now. And the last piece that I do want to emphasize is just be agile, be patient, be flexible. You're not the only person that's going through all this. It's everybody. It's affecting everybody out there. And so just being, kind to yourself, but then also to others, just being understanding that at this moment, nobody really knows, right, what could happen in the future. And so, just by having that type of mindset, it can help you with your self-care as well. So just to let you all know what are some of the services that we at least provide. So if, especially with some of the topics that I talked about that you would want to discuss more in depth, or you want to follow up, these are ways that you can go about in doing that. We do have career advising. So these are 30-minute appointments that you can do through Handshake. And usually that's Monday through Friday. And usually you can see through Handshake the times that are available, and you can schedule an appointment through there. We also have drop-ins. Those are 15-minute drop-in sessions where you can just drop in and you can have your resume or cover letter reviewed, or maybe you're wanting to start one and you want to know how. This is the opportunity to do that. And even to discuss more in depth the job and internship search, this is another way. I will tell you all right now that students, it's literally, we have so many available appointments. So for you who may be thinking about, okay, well, these are great things, like now I need to know how to like move forward. This is your time to do these career appointments and virtual drop-ins. Like we have so much availability. So please, if you haven't thought about it, definitely come in. Our drop-in sessions Tuesday to Thursday from 10 to 2, or schedule an appointment with us, okay? We still have events and workshops like this one to help you. We have career panels, we have a law, grad school info session coming up. We have so many events for all of you. Employers are still doing info sessions. So if there's a specific employer that you're interested and they're doing information sessions, make sure to attend because they can give you more info about the opportunities and also the recruitment at this point. We still have on-campus recruiting, which of course will be virtual. And then of course there's articles and digital resources, which are some of the ones that I went over before, that can just give you so much more info if that's the way you want to get started first with information, and then whatever the next step may be for you. And then of course all the other resources that I showed you. So where it says click here, this is available to you to, once you get the presentation, it'll direct you right to where it is, but it's all through the Career Center website, which take advantage because it's so much nicer at this point and it's so much easier to access, and it has all these different resources for you for free. You don't have to pay for all these. Alrighty, so now we have, perfect, a couple, maybe 5 to 6 minutes to answer any questions. So I'm gonna stop, or actually, let me see here. Okay, any questions at this point? And you can do it through the Q&A section of this. So if there's any questions, I hope this was helpful for many of you. I know we went through a lot of info, so I don't expect you all to be experts, but definitely refer to this PowerPoint once we send it out. If you filled out the survey, please fill out the survey. That way we can send you the presentation, and you'll also be entered into the 25 Amazon gift drawing, which is a plus for many of you. Yeah, so let me see. I have one question. So let me see here. Can international students get an e-media library card through LA Public Library? That's a good question. Oh, I think everybody can hear me. So that's a good question. I'm not really sure. I think the process right now is you would just include an address somewhere in LA. So if you live in the dorms, I'm assuming you can put that address. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not really sure. I don't know if any of my peers, if my colleagues know this question.
Hi, everyone. This is Kathy. I'm also a career engagement educator. I just wanted to confirm that, yes, if you are an international student, you can get a Los Angeles Public Library e-media card. Anybody who resides in Los Angeles County can obtain one very easily. All it takes is a couple of seconds to fill out that form, and you're going to get a postcard in the mail, which you'll have to fill out and mail back to the LA Public Library to keep your account. That whole process, takes a couple of weeks. So, just keep that in mind and keep an eye out for that postcard if you do sign up for an e-media card.
Thank you, Kathy. That's a good question. Any other questions at this point? Let's see here. I have 2 more. Is there any way for an international student to get a social security number without having a job offer at hand? I'm not really sure in terms of the logistics of what that could be. I would say if you haven't checked in with DashU, please do so. They have counselors who also are doing virtual appointments. So if that's definitely something that you're interested in, make an appointment with DashU, and I'm sure they can give you some more info about that specific question. Because I think there's a process, but I'm not really, I don't want to give you misinformation about that. So DashU is definitely your resource to go for this question. Of course. Alrighty, I think that is it for now. But please make appointments. Go in for our drop-ins. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of availability at this point. So take advantage of that now before it gets crazy. Alrighty. Well, it was my pleasure being here with you all today. Again, my name is Jessica, and I hope to see some of you. Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Jessica, for leading us in our first workshop on job and internship search strategies. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then I'm actually going to tell you all how you can really leverage this time to do some virtual networking as well as some deeper dives into LinkedIn strategies. Things like looking for alumni, looking for recruiters and opportunities, and really maximizing your presence online, which is as critical now as it ever has been. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in about 4 minutes to get started.